Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna had been buried just hours before in a solemn, tearful service that was only attended by close friends and relatives. Every thought and action was obscured by the unseen fog of grief that still hung heavy in the air. How could Finn sleep, even though Steffi had pleaded with him to do so? Since Luna's untimely and terrible death due to her inexplicable kidney failure, he had not slept for days. The hospital's initial autopsy results further added to the mystery, since nothing had made sense. Now, however, he was holding Luna's last letter, which Poppy had discovered concealed in Luna's private notebook and had delivered posthumously. She desired that you read it, Poppy had sobbed as she pressed the envelope into Finn's hand and then collapsed into Rydich's arms, saying, "Only you." Since then, Finn had closed himself in the bedroom. He wasn't prepared, not for any more suffering, not for greater truth. But a deep-seated voice told him that whatever was in this letter would finally help him understand why Luna had been acting strangely over the past few days and what she had been so desperate to tell him but never had the opportunity to do. So, Finn broke the wax seal and unfolded the fragile pink stationery, breathing slowly and painfully. Her scent permeated the paper's threads, and for a brief while it seemed as though Luna was still there, murmuring softly and stroking his shoulder. "If you're reading this, it means I didn't make it," was the first line that struck him like a truck. "And before you despise me forever, there are some things you should know." Finn's breath became short, his chest constricted, and his eyes began to search more quickly. "I didn't want to ruin you, so I didn't tell you the truth. But I need you to know because I'm sick of dying with secrets. Finn, you were correct. There was a problem with my health. It was intentional. It wasn't just stress or trauma. Slowly I was getting poisoned." Finn's heart raced as his eyes grew wide. He shook his head and blinked as though to make the words disappear. "Are you poisoned? Who did it? How?" He could not stop reading. It began modestly. Headaches, exhaustion. Then my eyes turned yellow and my skin turned pale. I wanted to trust my mother when she told me it was only stress from the family drama. I was already falling apart, so I had to believe her. However, things deteriorated. I got to work looking into it, and my blood ran cold as I discovered what I did. I now understand that the tea she has been giving me daily was loaded with something other than a vitamin, something that gradually harmed my kidneys. I went up to her. She disputed it. However, I could tell everything from the fear in her eyes. The room whirled around Finn. Poppy. Had Poppy been giving her daughter poison? That isn't possible. That was crazy. Breathing heavily, he briefly dropped the letter. He was aware of the pills, wellness treatments, and herbal teas that Poppy often provided Luna. At times he even appreciated her all-encompassing approach. However, this was terrifying. He still shook as he picked up the letter again. "I'm not sure if she first intended to harm me. Perhaps it all began with her belief that I would become stronger, healthier, more balanced, or whatever. However, she gave me more when I started becoming unwell rather than sending me to the hospital." She continued to smile as if nothing was wrong, and I believe that she did so because she was worried about the results of the exams. She wanted you to be unaware of what she had done. Finn's mouth tightened. His thoughts were filled with pictures. Poppy giving Luna tea every morning. Her subdued defensiveness whenever he recommended that Luna get tested. Her justifications. Her domineering personality presented as nurturing. His body stiffened with anger and incredulity. However, Finn, there's worse news. Something I learned right before I became too ill to talk about. His heart fell once more. The words were hazy. You are more than simply my doctor, my friend, or my cousin. You're my brother. Finn got to his feet so quickly that the paper blew out of his hands. And, oh, he said, gazing at the letter as if it were a snake. No, this is not possible. He paced the room in disbelief, running his fingers through his hair. This must have been an error, a falsehood, a delusion brought on by sadness and lack of sleep. He glanced back to the letter that was now resting close to the dresser. He lifted it back, up slowly as if afraid to touch a live wire. Finn, I heard Mom talking on the phone. She wasn't conversing with the old friend. She was conversing with your mom. They were having a disagreement regarding the past. Regarding you, I took the necessary steps to shield him from Jack's mess. She claimed he is not solely yours. Then I heard her say, if our son learns the truth, he will never forgive me. Finn stumbled to his back. Our son, he said in a whisper. Our son. That evening, I broke into her safe. I have to be aware. I located birth certificates, old pictures, a letter stating that you were taken into the Finnegan family as an adopted child. Additionally, Jack only claimed you to spare Lee from the embarrassment. He wasn't your biological father. The reality is your biological mother is Poppy. Your mother is my mother. And implies Finn fell to the ground. It seemed as though the walls were collapsing. He was mute, unable to think. He had been misled to all his life by the woman who had reared him. The woman he considered Luna's quirky mother was now his. Luna was therefore more than just his cousin. He loved her as much as a sister. Yet she was more than just a young lady. She was his sister. His sister-in-law. Finn, I didn't want to pass away without telling you the truth. I apologize for not being able to say this face to face, but don't hate me. Please do not despise her. No. That my love for you has never diminished, and I'll be keeping an eye on you forever. That was the end of it. No signature. Where Luna's name should have been, there was only a tear-stained smudge. The letter was limp on Finn's lap as he sat motionless on the bedroom floor for what seemed like hours. Inside of him, a tempest had erupted. Betrayal, uncertainty, anger, and grief. Lies had been the cornerstone of his life, and now they were eroding all around him. Every joke, every hug, every time he shielded Luna from Steffi's rage, every moment he had with her at the hospital, all of it poisoned by the indescribable knowledge that they were siblings forced apart by secrets. He considered Lee his mother, who was so harsh and frigid, yet insisted that Jack was his father and that they were a legitimate family. Now, however, everything made sense. Her distaste for Poppy, the hostility at every family meal, and the unease when Luna visited LA. It was dread, not jealousy, fear of the truth coming to light, and his true mother, Poppy. What sort of mother poisoned her daughter? Over time, what sort of mother would conceal her son's identity, keep him from knowing the truth about his beginnings, and let him live his life with a distorted sense of who he was? Thoughts of Luna's gradual decline, the time they had lost together, and the connection they could have pursued if they had known the truth sooner. If only it hadn't been buried beneath layers of fear and manipulation, made his chest heave with rage. Steffi softly rapped on the door. Finn, are you all right? He was mute, unable to respond.
She
hurried to his side in horror as she opened the door and saw him curled up on the floor holding the letter, tears running down his cheeks. What is it? What was said? His eyes were disturbed as he gazed at her. My sister was Luna. Poppy is my mom. Additionally, Poppy poisoned her. Steffi flinched in surprise. Oh my God. Outside, thunder roared across the coast, darkening the
sky.
Inside the cliff house, the storm had only just started. The tempest brewing inside Finn's spirit was echoed by the thunder rolling louder outside as lightning raced across the Malibu sky. While Finn sat stooped, elbows on his knees, face buried in his palms, Steffi gripped the letter in her shaking hands, her eyes searching every word in bewilderment. For some minutes, nobody of them talked. Every breath seemed like it was coming through glass because of the tension and anguish that pervaded
the air.
When Steffi did look up, her voice was shaky and harsh. She was almost scared to mention the name, so she said, Poppy, she's your mother, right? Additionally, Luna was yours. Finn raised his face, torn and smeared with tears, and rasped, my sister.
She
passed away without telling me.
I now
have to live with this hole inside of me for the rest of my life. Steffi was unable to understand it. Despite their occasionally tense relationship, she had come to care for Luna. But to find out, suddenly, that Finn's sister was Luna, that their whole relationship had been based on deception, that Poppy, a person she put up with for Finn's sake, had poisoned her own daughter in order to hide her secrets, in addition to hiding the truth about Luna's ancestry.
As Finn
shivered in quiet, still holding on to Luna's last letter like a shattered fragment of his soul, Steffi crouched next to him and put her arms around him. The realization caused her own mind to race, and she could feel the thunder of his heartbeat. Dead Luna, poisoned.
And
not only was Poppy the one Steffi had reluctantly put up with for Luna's sake, but she was also Finn's biological mother. They had never experienced a controversy involving the Forrester family as tangled as the reality. Something darker and more profound.
A
complete disintegration of Finn's identity. Finn stood up abruptly and said, I need to confront her. I am unable to until I receive answers.
I
can't breathe until she explains the reason. Steffi grabbed him. Hold on, Finn, please. You recently discovered that your whole life has been a lie. This shouldn't be done by you alone. His eyes were sunk in and bloodshot as he turned to her. I have no other option. Steffi. She allowed Luna to die. She was aware of the reality. It was killing her that she offered her those teas every day as if they were love in a cup. And now I learned that she's my mom.
No.
I must hear it directly from her. Everything, Steffi answered firmly, her eyes moist but determined. I'm coming. With you. I won't leave you to deal with this alone. With the heartbreaking family secret, the letter, and Luna's death crushing down on them like an unseen vice, they drove in silence to the beach house. The planet itself seemed to be in grief since the sky had gotten darker. With a shawl wrapped around her shoulders, Poppy sat on the balcony and gazed blankly out to sea. Her lips parted in astonishment and fear as she stood suddenly watching Finn and Steffi approach.
Finn. Steffi, she
whispered in a little raspy voice.
Finn
stepped forward and stated, I read the letter. In a chilly voice. Luna's letter, the one you handed me. Poppy's gaze darted between them as she drank. She requested that I give it to you.
I
11:54. Didn't read it. You didn't have to, snarled Finn. Since you were already familiar with all of that, weren't you? The poisoning, the falsehoods, the real
Me.
With anger rising beneath his anguish, he took another step toward
12:08.
her. You are my mom, are you not? Poppy's mouth quivered, and the tears gushed out at once.
John, please. I
Never intended for you to learn this. Respond to me, he yelled, trembling with anger. Is that accurate? My biological mother is you? Her face crumpling.
She
Nodded slowly. Indeed I am. Steffi knew previously, yet she gave a little gasp. Speaking it out loud gave it a sense of reality that the letter did not. It was as though the earth had parted beneath Finn and Luna.
Finn.
Insisted. Did you give her poison?
No.
Poppy stumbled forward and let out a cry. I didn't intend to. I was unaware that it was causing her pain. I believed I was assisting her. Her body was meant to benefit from the plant's detoxifying
Properties.
I never wanted this.
I promise.
Detoxify. Like poison. Finn spat out the word.
Poppy.
You work as a nurse. You were aware of your actions. As you grinned and poured her another cup, you allowed her kidneys to deteriorate. She cried.
I
Was unaware of the harm. I was too late when I noticed the indications, and I was terrified. I'm scared I'd lose you both if I told the truth. Finn stumbled back in horror. You did it already.
You
Have already done so, please.
Poppy.
Reached for him and pleaded. Let me
Clarify.
Let me start at the beginning and tell you everything. His eyes were blazing as he gazed at her.
Speak.
However, don't count on my forgiveness. With her hands shaking, Poppy tightened her hold on the blanket around her shoulders and fell onto the outdoor